chosen one. You didn't find this message by accident. It wasn't random timing nor a fleeting moment of curiosity. Heaven has been waiting for this precise moment to deliver a warning so personal, so urgent, that your soul would recognize it before your mind could explain it. Chosen one, you are standing at a crossroads that few ever see. Right now, your spirit is being watched, not just by heaven, but by the forces that have tried to keep you from rising. What you choose to do in the next few moments will echo beyond this hour. This is not a casual scroll through words. This is a divine alarm sounding directly within your timeline. There are moments in life where time and eternity meet. This is one of them. Heaven calls it a consecrated hour, a time when what happens in the unseen realm determines what will unfold in the visible. You've reached that hour. A single decision now, whether to lean in or scroll away, will either activate your next season or delay it beyond recognition. The scroll written with your name has been opened, and though you are chosen, even the chosen must choose. Favor doesn't force itself. Destiny must be agreed with. This isn't pressure. This is power, sacred power, being handed to you with trembling hands. Archangel Michael has already taken his place beside you, not metaphorically, spiritually, supernaturally, with sword drawn and eyes watching. Jesus has interceded for you, not because you are weak, but because you are targeted. You are not just reading this. You are standing on the battlefield of your own deliverance. Something ancient and sacred is at stake, and heaven is making one final attempt to awaken what was buried beneath your tiredness, your confusion, and your delays. What you feel in your body, distraction, heaviness, fatigue, isn't exhaustion. It's interference. Right now, the gates of favor, healing, justice, and protection are shaking on their hinges, waiting for a command from your spirit. They were built for you, designed for you, named for you, but they remain locked until you respond. If you skip this moment, the opportunity may not return in this season. The spiritual window is not permanent. Chosen one, don't assume you can revisit this later. You may still exist, but the door may not. The eyes of angels are on you. The heavens have paused to observe your reaction. This is not performance, it is prophecy. And if you listen closely, you'll hear it not as pressure, but as the pulse of eternity calling your name. You have been warned. Now you must decide. Chosen one. The hour you are standing in is not ordinary. It was written into your story before you ever took your first breath. Long before you were aware of spiritual battles, your name was whispered in heavenly places. A divine contract was sealed, not in ink, but in light. And now, after years of delay, resistance, and silent weeping, the final clause is being activated. The enemy knows it. That's why your body feels tired, your mind distracted, your surroundings unsettled. These are not coincidences. They are the residue of warfare aimed at your reaction. This moment is not just a message. It is an intersection, a collision between the timeline heaven wrote for you and the counterfeit one hell tried to assign you. If you move forward, something ancient will break. If you stay still, something precious may die. The realm of spirit has brought you here to decide, will you reclaim what's yours or allow delay to become denial? If you can feel the weight of this message in your spirit, type 77 in the comments. Now, let heaven see your agreement. Let hell see your resistance. This is not just a comment, it's a covenant. Type 77 to say, I choose obedience. I choose alignment. I choose to rise as the chosen one. There are forces that hoped you wouldn't reach this point. Individuals around you, some you called friend, sister, even family, have spoken your name into darkness. A woman cloaked in false closeness whispered your name in a sacred place with evil intent. She thought no one heard, but heaven heard. Archangel Michael heard, and now the sword is moving. A man who once smiled at you is now using your name in documents crafted to delay your favor. He believes it will work, but heaven has already unsealed the file, and justice is in motion. These people did not just attack you, they tried to alter your destiny. But what they forgot is that you are not just protected, you are chosen. As says Lewis profoundly wrote in The Weight of Glory, there are no ordinary people. You have never talked to a mere mortal. You chosen one are no mere mortal. Your eternal significance has drawn the wrath of those who sought to dim your light. But heaven's protection ensures your destiny remains secure. Even now, the realm of spirit is shifting. If your heart is beating faster, if your hands tremble, or your eyes tear for no clear reason, know this: your spirit is remembering something your mind has yet to recall. You've been here before, in a dream, in a vision, in a soul promise made in the womb of eternity. As C.S. Lewis wrote in The Problem of Pain, pain insists upon being attended to. God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our conscience, but shouts in our pains. It is his megaphone to rouse a deaf world. These sensations, chosen one, are God's megaphone, rousing your spirit to the sacred warfare unfolding around you, awakening you to the eternal promise that calls you forth. This hour is sacred because it's yours. Do not treat it lightly. What you're feeling right now is not just emotion, it is warfare. Invisible, strategic, relentless. You've mistaken it for tiredness, but it's not fatigue. It's a net, a spiritual sedative cast over your mind to keep you from waking up fully to who you are. The enemy does not waste energy on the ordinary. You feel the pressure because you are extraordinary. You feel the fog because something in you is on the verge of fire. Chosen one. The shaking in your soul is not weakness. It is your calling rumbling beneath the surface. And right now, something ancient, something hidden for generations is being stirred awake. You have been the quiet one, the kind one, the one who forgives even while being betrayed. But heaven knows what that kindness has cost you. Every silent scream, every night, you bled on the inside and still smiled on the outside. None of it was lost. It was all recorded, all remembered, and now the bowls in heaven filled with your tears are beginning to tip. But hear this clearly. You are not just fighting pain. You are fighting manipulation, deception, and curses spoken in shadows. Someone once close to you, someone who studied your spirit only to mimic it, is actively trying to suppress your rise. She has watched you carry light with grace and hoped she could outshine it by imitation. But God is not mocked, and light cannot be faked. The spirit realm is exposing her motives even now. There is a reason why your screen glitched, why you suddenly felt too heavy to keep reading, why someone may have just interrupted your peace. It's all part of the opposition. But know this, the enemy isn't trying to stop your comfort. He's terrified of your clarity, because once you see who you are, you cannot be controlled. This is why Archangel Michael stands ready with fire in his blade. He has defended your home in the night, your spirit while you slept, your destiny while you wept. And now, as the final pieces fall into place, the warfare has intensified, not because you're weak, but because your activation is imminent. Chosen one, this war will not be won by striving. It will be won by recognizing that you've already been chosen, already been backed, already been sealed. All that remains now is your agreement, your yes, your refusal to scroll away from your sacred scroll. Heaven is not asking you to fight harder. Heaven is asking you to stand up and remember who you are. There are doors in the spirit realm, ancient ordained, etched with your name. They were not given by man, and they cannot be opened by popularity, performance, or manipulation. These doors are different. They respond to only one thing: the obedience of the chosen one. That's you. Right now, they are trembling on their hinges. Favor is leaning in. Healing is holding its breath. Protection, justice, provision, they are all waiting for your soul's command. You were not created to beg for crumbs at tables built by liars. You were born to open doors no one else can reach. But even chosen doors require chosen action. You must respond, not with noise, not with panic, but with posture, humble, yielded attentive to the divine. Don't be deceived. The delay you felt was not rejection, it was preservation. The reason it didn't happen sooner is because heaven refused to waste sacred timing on unready environments. But the season has shifted. The clock in heaven has struck, and now the doors are trembling because you're finally standing in front of them. But hear this chosen one. Not everyone wants you to open them. There are those watching silently, jealously, desperately, hoping you'll get distracted, hoping you'll scroll past this, hoping your fatigue will win, because they know what's behind those doors will ruin their plans. They know your rise means their exposure. That's why the warfare has intensified. That's why some people have started acting strangely. That's why the tension in your chest isn't just emotional, it's spiritual. Right now, heaven is holding back judgment that was meant for your bloodline. A hand pierced yet powerful is restraining it. But that hand cannot hold forever. Mercy has limits when warning is ignored. Do not mistake this message for inspiration. It is a lifeline, a divine interruption, a supernatural override of the systems that tried to keep you small. Jesus is still kneeling for you, not because you are lost, but because he refuses to let your destiny be stolen without a fight. Even now, his intercession is echoing in the throne room, saying, "Give them one more chance. Just one more. Chosen one, this is your chance." Make no mistake, this moment is not happening in silence. You are being watched, not only by angels but by enemies, not only by heaven but by those on earth who hoped you'd stay stuck, quiet, confused. There are eyes on your spirit hoping you'll doubt what was always yours. But what they didn't know, what they could never predict, is that you would make it this far, that you would still be standing, still believing, still reading. Heaven has been observing silently, documenting every injustice done to you, every word twisted, every hand that reached towards you with a smile while hiding a knife behind the back. The records are full, and the court of heaven has reached a verdict. The chosen one is not to be touched without consequence. Right now, someone is whispering your name with false intentions, using your past like a weapon. They are forging stories, manipulating truths, crafting confusion, but the ink they used has already been dissolved. The scrolls in heaven have replaced every lie with divine testimony. Your name is being cleansed in the spirit realm. You don't have to defend yourself. Heaven already has. Chosen one, even your silence has been sacred. You could have spoken in rage, but you held your tongue. You could have retaliated, but you let God observe. And because of that, what was once quiet suffering has now become divine evidence. There are angels, yes, literal angels who have wept over your restraint, who have fought while you slept, who have stood guard when you had no words left to pray. And now, those same angels are circling your home, not for decoration, for defense. There's something that's been following your bloodline for decades. A pattern, a curse, a force that took your ancestors before they bloomed. But it ends with you. Tonight that thing is being severed. You are not just the chosen one. You are the breaker of the chain. Someone who betrayed you is about to feel a regret so deep it will haunt their generations. But heaven will not let vengeance consume you. The justice that is coming is not for revenge, it's for release. Your release. Don't be distracted by the tension. That's not fear. That's confirmation. Something supernatural is hovering around your atmosphere. The shift you prayed for, cried for, fought for, it's no longer coming. It's here. And they, those who mocked, who watched, who whispered, will have no choice but to witness what happens when heaven fights for the chosen one. Heaven has been writing a scroll with your name on it. Not a metaphor, an actual record bound in light filled with the testimony of your life. Each page holds your sacrifices, your obedience, your silence, when it cost you everything. But this scroll is not yet complete. The final line remains unwritten, and heaven has paused the pen waiting on your response. Do not think this message is just another moment in your day. It is the moment. The final clause of your divine agreement is being presented to you now. Not tomorrow, not in a future season. Now, and whether you choose to receive it or scroll away, your decision will write the final sentence. You think you're just tired, but you're not. You're under spiritual sedation, a fog sent to dull your reaction, to numb your discernment, to paralyze your divine instinct. But the fog is lifting, the veil is parting, and what's being revealed is not just a truth about your future, it's a warning about your now. Every minute you delay, someone else plots. Someone you once trusted is actively watching, hoping you'll miss your window. They smile in public, but in private they speak venom. They've tried to replace you in rooms you were called to enter. They've written their names over places that carry your spiritual signature, but God has seen it all. And the correction will be divine, not dramatic. Silent but final. You are not being punished. You are being purified. The pain around your life is not because you failed, it's because you carry fire, and fire always causes a reaction. Heaven is not angry with you. Heaven is awakening you, because now the time has come to seal what began in eternity. This scroll, your scroll, has traveled across dimensions to reach your eyes. And now the angels wait. The room of records is still. The ink is ready. But only your soul can sign what's next. So, chosen one, what will you do with this moment? Heaven is watching. The time has come. What was stolen must now be returned. What was delayed must now be released. And what was hidden in the shadows will now be exposed by the radiance of heaven. Chosen one, your crown is coming back. Not a metaphorical reward, but a real spiritual authority that was forged through suffering, sealed in silence, and sanctified through fire. There were those who saw your crown before you ever touched it. They recognized your light before you learned to name it. And instead of honoring it, they tried to hijack it. These were not strangers. They were close. A woman who once called you family spoke behind your back to gain favor in rooms she did not earn. A man who once praised your potential now works in secret to block your elevation. But what they didn't know, what they couldn't know, is that you were never sustained by their permission. You were always backed by heaven's decree. God is now tearing the veil that protected their intentions, and not by your hand, but by His. You do not need to fight with human weapons. The court of heaven has already ruled, and the gavel has struck. The crown is returning to its rightful place, and that place is you. They will watch, not because you wanted revenge, but because heaven demands justice. They will see you rise, and they will have no words, not out of awe, but out of regret. The regret of trying to bury someone who was planted, not killed. Chosen one. Everything they said to weaken you will now be used to elevate you. Every delay they caused will become the very timeline that brings your name back into rooms of influence. But this time you will not come through the door begging. You will come through carrying dominion. You are no longer who you were. You have survived too much, discerned too deeply, and grown too holy to wear the mask of who others preferred you to be. This is your emergence, your reintroduction, and it won't need to be loud. It will be holy. Your crown is not for display. It is for authority, and those who fake the light will no longer be able to stand near the real thing. Their season of imitation is over. Heaven is restoring you in full. There was a test, chosen one, not the kind the world announces, not one marked by signs or signals. It came wrapped in delay. It arrived, dressed in silence. There were no explanations, no confirmations, no outward proof that God was still moving. But still you stayed. When the heavens went quiet and the voices of doubt grew louder, you didn't walk away. When prayers went unanswered and tears went unnoticed, you whispered hope anyway. You kept believing not because you had evidence, but because you had a promise. As C.S. Lewis wrote in, "The screw-tape letter's courage is not simply one of the virtues, but the form of every virtue at the testing point. Your courage, chosen one, shone brightest in the silent test of faith, proving your heart's steadfastness and earning heaven's reward. And that heaven says is why you passed. What broke others refined you. Where many chose bitterness, you chose to bless. Where many demanded proof, you chose to trust. Your obedience in the silence was not invisible to heaven, it was sacred. And while the world measured you by results, the Spirit measured you by faith. That's why you were tested in silence, because only silence could reveal the depth of your loyalty. And now, because you passed what could not be seen, you are being rewarded with what cannot be denied. Every hidden cry, every long night, every unanswered prayer was not in vain. Those were seeds planted in the eternal soil of your destiny. And now those seeds are breaking through, quietly, steadily, supernaturally. You may not hear trumpets, you may not feel a rush, but something is shifting beneath your feet. A door is creaking open, a realm is awakening. The silence you once feared is now giving birth to fulfillment. Chosen one, the silence wasn't punishment, it was preparation. And now that you've come through it, still standing, still believing, still pure of heart, you are stepping into the fulfillment of what others gave up on. This is the moment you were being shaped for. This is the hour when the heavens begin to pour what they've been holding in reserve. Not because of your perfection, but because of your persistence. Not because you never wavered, but because you never walked away. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are the one heaven waited for. The one who remained faithful, even when nothing made sense. The one who loved God more than answers. And now the test is complete. The scroll is sealed. The silence has spoken, and it speaks your name in victory. It has begun. Not tomorrow, not later. Now, without thunder, without crowds, without anyone needing to witness it, heaven has initiated the exchange. What was lost is being restored. What was heavy is being lifted. What was sent to harm you is being transformed into honor. The shift is already happening in the Spirit chosen one, and though your eyes may not see it yet, your soul can feel the pressure changing. The atmosphere around your life has started to obey a different command. This is what you've waited for, wept for, warred for in silence. And the truth is, it never left you. The promise was always hovering, waiting for alignment. And now, because you remained, because you didn't walk away, because you dared to still believe after all that fell apart, the divine timeline is catching up to your faith. God is not just returning what was yours. He's replacing what was poisoned. There are things you begged for in old seasons that will now appear in new form, not because you finally earned them, but because you've been refined to carry them. Chosen one, this exchange is sacred. It's not just about breakthrough, it's about identity. You are no longer seen by heaven as the one who barely made it. You are now seen as the one who stood, the one who learned how to worship in weeping, the one who was trusted with hidden fire. And because of that, the heavens are shifting things in your favor. Names are being removed from rooms they were never called to. Seats are being rearranged. Destinies are being recalibrated. And your name written in divine light is being whispered into decision-making realms you've never even heard of. This won't feel like a miracle at first. It will arrive quietly through a message, a meeting, a change so subtle, it almost goes unnoticed. But don't dismiss it. What seems ordinary will carry the weight of everything you prayed for. The person you're about to encounter, the opportunity, you almost overlook the door that looks too small. These are the vessels heaven has chosen, because your story isn't meant to look like anyone else's. The glory on your life requires a delivery that cannot be mimicked or misunderstood. You are not stepping into favor. You're stepping into a divine exchange where tears become oil, silence becomes strategy, and delay becomes divine demonstration. You gave God your pain. Now He is giving you His power. And no enemy, no scheme, no counterfeit can undo what's already in motion. The scroll has turned, the exchange is sealed, and heaven has spoken. It begins now. Chosen one. It wasn't a sound that triggered this moment. It wasn't a ritual, a sacrifice, or even a prayer. It was your name. whispered from your soul, and the quiet groaned from your spirit when you had no words spoken by Christ himself before the throne. That name, your name, became a signal, and when it rose from the depths of surrender, heaven moved. You've underestimated the weight your name carries in the spirit. While others have mocked it, dragged it, misused it, heaven has defended it. Your name has been spoken in angelic chambers, written in scrolls of light. And now it's being carried like a banner into battles you didn't even know were being fought. Every time you felt forgotten, the truth was this: your name was echoing in places your feet hadn't reached yet. You thought you were alone, but in reality you were being announced. The resistance you've felt lately wasn't random. It was response. Hell trembles when a chosen one steps into alignment. And you didn't just survive what was meant to destroy you. You outlasted it, outloved it, outgrew it. That's why the attacks grew subtle. That's why the distractions became louder than the obvious dangers. The enemy couldn't stop your faith, so he tried to blur your focus. But even blindfolded by confusion, you found your way back to the presence. And now, because of that, your name has become a key that unlocks doors meant for nations. You're not just being elevated, you're being vindicated. The very people who spoke lightly of your calling will soon feel the gravity of your assignment. And it won't be because you prove anything, it will be because heaven refuses to let lies define what God himself ordained. You won't need to raise your voice. Your peace will speak louder than their accusations. Your fruit will silence every rumor. Your presence will make their schemes irrelevant. You need to understand your name is not common. It is anointed. When heaven hears it, angels move. When hell hears it, systems break. And when you speak it in faith, realms respond. That is why this moment feels different. Because it is. Your name has been sealed in light. Your identity has been confirmed, and your future has been cleared of the fog that tried to stop you. You didn't earn this. You were born for this. And now that heaven has responded, there is no turning back. The fire you've been walking through was never meant to destroy you. It was always meant to crown you. Chosen one, this is not just your breakthrough. This is your coronation. The heat you've endured, the pressure you've survived, the betrayals you've forgiven, each one forged the crown now being placed upon your spirit. You are not walking out of this the same. You are walking out of this enthroned. The fire wasn't punishment. It was preparation. Heaven had to burn off the pieces of you that were never meant to follow you into your next season. Pride, fear, the craving for approval, the chains of old identity, all of it had to be consumed. Because what you're stepping into now cannot coexist with anything counterfeit. The crown you now carry demands purity, not perfection, but surrender. And that's what you gave, even when no one saw. Even when your prayers felt hollow, even when the wilderness lasted longer than expected, you stayed. You chose surrender over survival. And because of that, the throne room has opened in your favor. You've been through seasons where you were silenced, not by oppression, but by obedience. Heaven asked you to be quiet when you had every right to speak, to stay low when others elevated themselves, to serve without applause. And now the reward for that obedience is rising, not in the form of fame, but of fire-tested authority. You will speak and atmospheres will shift. You will pray and chains will fall. You will walk and darkness will scatter, not because of who watches you, but because of who walks with you. This is the part. Hell never wanted you to reach the part where the flames can no longer touch you. You've been refined, not ruined, sanctified, not silenced. And now the fire that once tried to consume you will serve as your testimony. People will ask how you survived, and your answer will be simple. Grace crowned me in the flames. You're not just coming out of the fire, you're coming out crowned, with clarity, with peace, with heavenly backing. And what's more, those who watched you burn will now witness you rise, not in arrogance, but in divine placement. You will walk through familiar places with unfamiliar glory. The places that once rejected you will no longer recognize you, Not because you changed who you were, but because you finally stepped into who you always were. This is your coronation, chosen one. Walk with your head high. Walk with the wind of heaven at your back. Walk through the fire, crowned, chosen one. There are people who once stood beside you, smiled at you, even prayed with you, only to walk away when your valley grew too deep, when your silence became too long, when your process took longer than they were willing to wait. They didn't leave because you failed. They left because they couldn't recognize the becoming. And now, as you rise, heaven will not allow them to look away. This next season of your life will not be private. It will not be hidden. It will not be edited for their comfort. God is not exalting you to spite them, but to reveal what they dismissed too quickly. What they thought was weakness was really wisdom. What they mocked as delay was really divine design. They left thinking you were finished, but they walked away from a seed, not realizing it was about to break through the soil. Your rise won't be loud. It will be undeniable. They won't be able to deny the favor on your life, the glow on your face, the way doors open without you knocking. They'll see the tables prepared before you, and they'll remember how they laughed when you were fasting, how they turned cold when you were breaking, how they thought you were done when you were only being refined. But don't let their return distract you. Some will come back, not out of love, but out of curiosity. Some will reach out with smiles, but still carry the shadows of jealousy. Heaven will give you discernment, so you may show grace without giving access. You may forgive without restoring proximity. You may love without reopening wounds. This is not the season to prove yourself. It is the season to become yourself. The version of you that held back, that second-guessed, that dimmed your light to be accepted, that version has been buried in fire. The one rising now walks in truth, in clarity, in power. You no longer need validation. You are now walking in divine vindication. Let them watch. Let them wonder. Let them recall every time they misunderstood the chosen one. Their presence is not your reward. Your becoming is. Their return is not your redemption. Your obedience is. You never needed them to finish the journey. You only needed the fire, the silence, and the whisper of God that never stopped speaking your name. You are rising, and heaven has made it visible on purpose. Chosen one, do not expect your next blessing to come wrapped in glory or surrounded by applause. It won't arrive with lightning in the sky or fireworks in the night. No, the most powerful moves of heaven often come gently, humbly, like whispers that shake the foundations of mountains. And your next blessing will come just like that, quietly. But when it settles in your life, it will speak louder than any sermon, any announcement, any vindication ever could. It may look small at first. A message, a meeting, a shift in someone's heart, a door you barely noticed. But don't underestimate what appears ordinary. Heaven hides its greatest gifts in humble packaging. The thing you're tempted to overlook might be the seed of your deliverance, the gateway to your calling, the vehicle that carries your answered prayers. The size of the door doesn't determine the magnitude of the breakthrough on the other side. You won't need to force it, chase it, or manipulate it into place. This blessing has already been scheduled. It has already been marked with your name. Not a version of you who performs for approval, but the real you, the one who stayed when it hurt, the one who believed when it made no sense, the one who refused to let bitterness bury your spirit. That version is the one this blessing was built for. And when it arrives, it won't just change your circumstances. It will shift the atmosphere around your name. The same people who once questioned your delay will now witness the acceleration of everything God withheld until your heart was ready. This will not be a rescue. This will be a release. Not a response to your begging, but a reward for your becoming. You won't need to explain it. You won't need to justify why favor chose you. The fruit will speak. The healing will testify. The glow in your spirit will answer every question they never asked out loud. Your silence will be filled with power, and your presence will carry a weight that can't be faked or fabricated. Because you didn't just receive the blessing, you were reshaped to carry it. So when it comes soft, subtle, divine, receive it with reverence. Protect it with wisdom. Nurture it with prayer. And let its quiet entrance magnify the God who always moves most profoundly in stillness. The world won't understand how it happened, but heaven will know the chosen one was ready. This is not the end of your journey, chosen one. This is your emergence. What you once mistook as a final chapter was actually a spiritual threshold. The pain, the silence, the long nights that felt like loss were never meant to bury you. They were meant to awaken what had been hidden inside you all along. You were not just being tested. You were being transformed. Everything you thought was breaking you was actually building you. Everything you lost was making space for what heaven always intended. You thought you were being emptied, but you were being prepared to carry glory. You are not leaving the fire. The same person who entered it. You are stepping out with spiritual weight, with divine authority, with eyes that see beyond the surface. The old version of you, the one that questioned your worth, that begged for scraps, that shrank to be accepted, was burned off in the furnace of affliction. What remains is pure, sharp, and untouchable. You are not just healed, you are sealed. You are not just restored, you are risen. You carry now what cannot be imitated refinement. And it shows in how you walk, how you speak, how you pray. You no longer reach for approval. You stand in assignment. Heaven never saw your delay as a disqualification. God never saw your suffering as waste. The silence you feared was actually strategy. It was in the silence that you learned to hear beyond sound. It was in the waiting that you developed the stamina to carry something sacred. The timeline you thought had been ruined is now realigning with divine speed. What you thought was lost is returning sevenfold, but not to the old you. It's coming to the new one, the unveiled one, the chosen one. You don't need to explain this to anyone. This emergence is not for applause. It's for alignment. You are rising now into the space your soul always remembered. This is not ambition. This is return. A return to the original blueprint. A return to the voice that called you by name, long before pain tried to rename you. You are not stepping into favor by chance. You are walking into fulfillment by covenant. And everything that tried to stop you will now be forced to witness what happens when a soul refuses to bow to fear. So walk forward, not as one who barely made it, but as one who was chosen for this exact moment. The earth will feel different beneath your feet now. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You carry fire. You carry heaven's backing. You carry the weight of obedience made manifest. This is not your ending. This is your revealing. The darkness knew you were coming. Now the world will too. This is your emergence.